Okay, till now, right, we have created something like a Linux machine as well as the Windows machine, no? So we'll go through this virtual machines theory as well. Okay. So basically what you will be learning right from this module is like you can create a Windows machine or a Linux machine on Azure, and you can set a virtual machine size. We'll come to this, what is this virtual machine size and all those. Okay, we'll see. And these are some of the advanced topics we'll go through, like what is this dedicated host, scale sets, okay, and Azure disk encryption. We'll go through them. Okay. Mm, you have already seen running a Linux machine and a Windows machine. Okay. Okay. Mm,
Sorry to interrupt. Like I've thought this is an introduction class. Is it an introduction class?
no, no, you can go through it. Okay, once you once the payment is done, no, like we'll go to grow from first. Okay, because the expectation from this class is something like some people are joining. For some people, it is a first class. Okay, so once the payment is done, right, when the actual class begins, right, we'll start from scratch. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so one thing is the name of the VM. So while choosing in a VM, right, we should choose an appropriate name, because now I am having a console from which I am creating some virtual machines. Like if I'm having some 200 or 300, right, I will be a bit confused, like which some may be related to production environment, some may be related to testing, and some may be related to development environment, and some may be related to different projects, right? If I'm having some 2 3 projects, okay, running from the same console, right, then I will get confused. So what you have to do, right, you have to put something like project name underscore, okay, and location underscore, environment underscore, okay, and the actual application server. It is something like this. Okay, I can name something like, while creating the VM, right, I can choose something like project underscore region underscore, okay. I can, and I can create something like a application server, okay, 005 or 003, whatever the number of, like you will be having some cluster, no, like that you can create. Or if you are having multiple applications, no, I can put something like Tomcat, application server 003, so that we can easily recognize, or you can reference to which project and where this application is being deployed. Like that, if you follow some naming convention, right, it will be very easy to identify the node. Okay, hope this is the, like we have to choose some environment, you have to choose the location, you have to choose the instance number, and what is the service, it whether it is an application server, or if it is a something like MySQL or something, right, you have to mention that one. Okay, that is all for like creating the naming. So you already know, right, where you have to, this is the region, basically these are all the regions. Okay, if you are creating a virtual machine, you should be more specific on which region you have to create. Either it can be in US or UK, or it can be in Australia or whatever, or India, whatever. Okay, and determining the size, this is something new. Okay, now till now, right, I have selected some virtual machines yesterday. If I go to this one, right, yesterday, once I log into my Azure portal, okay, while creating a VM, what I did, I have selected the virtual machine. Okay, in this virtual, I click on, this is how you will create, no, click on create and just click on virtual machine. Okay, this is how you will create your virtual machine. Here, no, I am having something like size. Okay, this is something like size. So this is the size actually. So if you see sizes, right, if I go, one second, let me, one second, yeah, If you see here, no, there are like multiple categorizations. There are something like A series, okay, and you are having B series, D series. You see, everyone is having the same. If you see here, each here also it is having 4 CPU. Here it is also having 28 GB RAM, and it is having something like disks, and you are having like IOPS. Okay, some may be same. Okay, and in the last column, right, you will be having the like pricing, but as these many options are available, right, so you will be confused like which one I have to use if I'm deploying some DB server, okay, or if I'm deploying some application server, okay, so I should choose on the type. So basically if you see, right, there are like multiple options here, okay, there are around like 252 VM sizes that are being present for this Ubuntu image. Okay, if I take Windows image, this pattern will change. Okay, so basically how they are categorized is what we are learning. Any resource, okay, which we want to spin, no, are categorized as processing power, memory utilization, and storage capacity. So these three are the criteria which will decide, okay, on the VM size. Now, if I'm like, you know, right, if you are working on some high gaming or like high CPU intensive applications, no, then I need more CPU. Okay, for more processing power, right, Azure will have some set of VM sizes. Now I am having some RAM intensive applications. Okay, so if you say, if you take some applications, no, they will use more, they will be having more payload. Okay, even though the load will be very less, but the payload size will be very more. Okay, for them, right, you need to have more memory, means the RAM should be more. If you take some databases, okay, for databases, right, you should have some storage capacity. So what is the application type which you are installing? Based on that, right, we have to choose the variant, whether we want processing power VM or memory intensive or storage capacity intensive VM. We have to decide. And how they are categorized, you know, they have categorized as some general purpose, compute optimized, memory optimized, storage optimized, GPU, and high performance compute. So this is the categorization that Azure has come up with. Normally, like in your on premises or in your, when you are like purchasing a laptop, no, what you will see, you will see like whether it is i5, i7, or i3, and processing power you will see, right, and you will look for the RAM, whether I want 16 GB or like 32 GB or 8 GB. Okay, and you will be looking at the hard disk. Okay, you will be looking at the hard disk. Same thing what they have done, right, for general purpose they had tagged some VMs. For compute optimized they have categorized some VMs. Even for memory optimized, storage optimized, or if it is gaming, right, they want high GPU, okay, and high performance compute VMs. Okay, so general per what this is meant for? If you are going with general purpose, no, basically it is meant for like medium level applications. Okay, medium level applications means I am installing some HR portal, or I'm running some school databases. Okay, these are like general purpose. For those applications, right, this general purpose type will suit better. You got it? If I'm installing some HR portal, or if I'm running some retail application, for those, right, this general purpose suits well. For our normal needs, no, which has having like low to medium traffic or web servers, right, you can go for the general purpose. For most of the cases, if you are installing any application server, this should fit your purpose. Okay, now you are having something like compute optimized when you will use, right, when you have, if you want high CPU to memory ratio. Okay, and this will be this will be for like, if you don't want this, right, then you will go for the compute. So if this CPU is not sufficient for you, okay, then you will go for this compute optimized. Here, right, it will provide good performance over this general purpose. Basically, like if you have any batch processing, like if you take IRCTC, okay, at night time, what will happen? Some batches will run, it will flush the DNS. Sorry, flush the PNR numbers, right? You know, I think you know, right? Every day there will be batch and it will flush the old PNR numbers and it will allocate those numbers for the future use. Or banking applications. In the older days, no, whenever you put a transaction, right, whenever you give a check, right, after 3 or 4 days, right, suddenly it will get processed. Okay, for those, this compute optimized will work out. If you are running any batch processing applications or which are more intensive, means this general purpose is not suitable for you, then you can go for this compute optimized. Now you have memory. Okay, here, right, you will be having more memory than CPU. Okay, this will be used for your databases. Okay, so like why we need memory? Here, if you take storage optimized, memory optimized, both are having databases, so both will suit for databases. But when we have to go for this memory optimized, when we have to go with the storage optimized, any guesses? Can someone say? Because this memory optimized and storage optimized will suit for databases, but why when we have to go with memory optimized, when we have to go with storage optimized? Any guesses? Can you ping in chat or you can unmute? Any guesses? It is general question, not a cloud question. Because in exam they will ask, I want to run one database. Okay, which one will suit for me? Whether I have to go with memory optimized or storage optimized. Just to think. Any guesses? Just let it be wrong also, not an issue. No, okay, I will tell. So there will be some application. Now here I am having some database. Okay, this is my DB. Okay, and there are like multiple users here. Okay, this is one user, like that I'm having multiple users. Okay, now a new phone got released in Amazon or like Flipkart, right? Some new phone got released. What will happen, right? Every person will launch the same website, right? Or launch the same URL. You want to see the specification, some new iPhone got released. What will happen? So your data will be basically present in the database in some table. Okay, now 10,000 users are like throughout the country. There will be some 1 lakh or more users will be accessing the same iPhone page. Okay, means there will be some 1 lakh hits on the table in the same row. Correct, everything will fetch from there. Okay, which will consume a lot of IO in the disk. Correct. So when we'll go for the memory optimized is, instead of fetching everything, no, what they will do, right? What the application designers will do, no, they will put whatever the data that is being fetched, no, they will store it in the RAM. Okay, so every frequent request, right, if we are getting this frequent request, they will store in the RAM or they will store in the cache. The cache is part of the RAM, right? So when the first user sends the request, okay, it will fetch the data from the table and it will store in the RAM. Whenever the second user comes, no, it won't go to the table and fetch the data from the RAM. The request will be served. So if you are having some design where the data from the most frequent data is being cached in your RAM, no, then you need more RAM. Okay, whereas storage optimized is like there won't be any caching, but your data will be stored. That is the difference. If you are having some cache mechanism, right, then you have to go with the memory optimized, or you can go with the storage optimized applications where you will get lot of terabytes of DB. That is the difference. When you are having some cache based, if you are having some cache based thing, no, in your application, cache based implementation, then you have to go with the memory optimized. When you have to go to the storage is like, if you want like high IO rate, okay, and you won't store anything in the memory, then you can go with the storage optimized. And there will be something like GPU. GPU is for like heavy graphics or something. On cloud, if you want to go, right, then you can go with the GPU applications. So if you want like fastest and most powerful like CPU, right, then you can go with like you will get high throughput basically. Okay, you will be getting high throughput over the network interfaces. Then you will use this high performance compute. So these are the categories. So if you are going with the general purpose, you can go with DSV3, okay, DAS V4, DSV2. If you are going with the computer optimized, then FSV2. Okay, if you are going with like a memory optimized, then you have to go with this sizes. Basically, what we are doing, right? This RAM and what? Okay, this RAM, right? This RAM, like RAM or processing power and storage capacity. What we are doing, right? We are categorizing as some units, like for normal servers, for high computing servers. Okay, if it is like high RAM intensive applications, then storage intensive. And if you are going with graphical or like you need some high performance compute applications, like that, we are categorizing, and you are putting some sizes. This is what we are seeing here. Okay, this is what you are seeing in the portal. Okay, you are seeing, no, F1X, F32. So these are all the sizes. I will go with Azure. If you see here, no, we are having A series, BS series. Okay, and they are mentioning like what is economical bust and general purpose compute, E series. So like that, you are having like multiple series globally, right? You can categorize them like this. Based on your need, you have to choose your appropriate VM while designing your infrastructure. If you are going with a database, you have to choose either this one or this one. If you are going for applications, normal applications, no, this series should work out for you. Okay, if you are having like high CPU, if you need high CPU, no, like if it is having heavy load, right, then you can go with the VSV2 series. This is also important. What you, whenever you are creating VM, okay, there will be one question like whether I can change the size. It is possible to change the size, but it will have some interruption to the service. So if you change the size from like BSV3 to something like dash V4, right, what will happen now? We have to reboot the machine. During that time, you will be having some interruption to the service. You can change the size as well, not an issue. Initially I can go with a B, then I can change it to DSV3. That is also possible. Okay, then storage. Yeah, yesterday I was mentioning, no, first we'll create the VM. One VM, what we will do, right? I'll create one Windows machine. So first I will click on virtual machines. I will click on virtual machine. Here, as I mentioned earlier, no, you will be having subscription. In that subscription, right, you will be having one resource group. So for that, right, what I'm creating now, I'm creating a resource group called as demo. So every resource, whatever you create in cloud, will be tagged to one subscription and one resource group. And here I'm giving some VM name, Windows. Okay. Now I have to choose the region. Means in my geographical area, where I have to create, whether I want to create it in India or like Central Canada or whatever. So like that, you are having so many regions. If I'm creating in you want to create in US, again select East to US. Okay, base this factor, no? If I'm selecting something like UK West, right? I'm getting some instances which are related to here. But here I'm having something like India, I will select, okay, Asia Pacific. I'm selecting something like West India. But here, no, for my subscription, right, I don't have any. That is the power of the subscription. For the subscription, you will be having like these tags. Means like it will decide, it will give access. Now I will go back to this one. I will go back to US, East to US. Now I want to create this in. I don't want any. I don't want to select any availability options. Means I don't want to select any redundancy. Actually there are two things. If I want to specify my VM to be created in availability zone, no, I can create. Here, no, it is not mandatory. But in AWS, right, it is mandatory to create a VM in availability zone. But here it is not mandatory. In Azure, it is not mandatory. So I'm selecting some Windows machine. Okay, I'm selecting one Windows machine over here. Here, this is the size. Okay, for this, if I select on all sizes, no, see, this is what we are getting. This is what I showed you. You will be having some D series, you will be having some B series. Here we are having some 16 GB RAM. Okay, here also I'm having 16 GB RAM. Okay, but if you see the IOPS, no, these are input output operations per second. See, there will be variance in this. Here it is having some 2800. In these machines you are having something like for 4 CPU you are having some 6400. Okay, like that you will be having some variation. Okay, I will close this and I will select this one. Okay, I'm selecting something like 2 vCPU and 8 GB RAM, and in order to log in now I need some username. Now I'm creating that. Okay, in this selected portion I want to log in. I want to perform my RDP. I want to perform my remote desktop to that machine, so I'm enabling this port. Okay, I'm clicking on next. I want, yeah, this is what we are talking about. Okay, currently, right, if I want to, while creating itself, if I want to create any disk, no, I can click on attach a new disk. Okay, for now what I will do, right, I won't attach any disk. Okay, as part of the lab, what we will do now, first we will log into the machine. Okay, then we will attach one disk. Means currently I will be having C drive. Okay, now what I will do, right, after logging into that machine, okay, then I will create one new disk and I will attach to the same VM. And I'm clicking on networking. So here, no, for this there will be a new network that will be created, and this is the subnet for that, and I want the public IP, and I'm clicking on review and create. So there are no errors on the data which I have provided. So I'm clicking on create. Now my machine will get created. Meanwhile, right, we'll come to this one. Now you know what is this VM sizes. Okay, when you have to go for which type, based on your need you can decide. So this is storage basically. Now my machine is getting created. Okay, now I am having some OS disk. Okay, C drive, and you will be having some additional drive called as a OS disk is nothing but the C drive. Okay, this is the root partition in Linux, but in like Windows machines, you will be having something like C drive. Okay, and there will be something like a temporary disk that will be created. Okay, but if I'm having some 10 GB, 20 GB here, no, here I will be having some 8 GB or 10 GB based on the instance like VM type which I select. Only difference between this operating this like what is this operating system disk, that is the OS disk, and the temporary disk is whatever the data you store in your OS disk will be permanent. If you reboot that machine, no, if you restart that machine, the data or the files that are stored in this temporary disk will be lost. Okay, and you have provision to add some additional disk. We can add some data disks to the existing VM that we are going to see today. But if I am telling like if I am adding some data disk, there are different types of disk, correct? You will be having in your, whenever you are buying a laptop, no, you will be having something like HDD and SDD. Okay, HDD model, HDD will be like cheaper. Okay, if you are getting 1 TB for HDD, you will be charged some 7K. Means if you are purchasing for like SSD disk, which is faster, then it will be price will be almost 80 to 90% higher. Okay, 80 to 100%. Okay, it will be like 14K or something. Okay, why? Because these are like high performance. It gives like faster copy, and okay, SSD is more superior than the HDD. This will be having some latency, less IO. This will be having higher performance. Okay, so in the same way, in the cloud also they have categorized. Okay, they have categorized as standard disks, premium disk, and ultra SSD. Like that they have categorized. Okay, maybe my VM is created. Okay, my VM is created, and I'm clicking on go to resource. Okay, if you go to this VM whatever I have created, no, now I will go to home, I will go to virtual machine, and this is the Windows machine which I have created just now. If I click on here, no, I'm clicking this one. Okay, I'm hiding this. Here you are having two options. Okay, one is disks, one is size. Disk is for attaching a new disk. If you want to, what to say, if you want to add some additional storage, you know, you have to go to the disks. Okay, here you are having two options. One is like create and attach a new disk, or if you have an already some disk, right, you can directly attach it over here. For the current VM, no, I am having 127 GB drive. Okay, current in that C drive, right, it is having some 127 GB, and the storage type is premium SSD. Now if I want to create a new VM, or like if I want to create a new disk, no, I can click on create and attach a new disk. Okay, here I am giving some name. Okay, here this is the category. So in my slide I showed, no, like, oops, not this. One second, I lost that. Yeah, here you are having standard, premium, and ultra SSDs, right? Here standard, premium, ultra SSD, no, the same you will find over here. Standard SSD. Okay, you are having like premium SSD. Okay, best for production and performance sensitive loads, and standard SSD, best for web servers. Okay, and you will be having something like standard SSD which will be used for backups. So in this drive, what you want to do, just now we have selected some drive or like VM types. Okay, in your machine, in your database, you will be having some mount points. No, now I can create one drive, I can add it as a mount point. If I want to store some backups, I can go for the SSD. And one more thing, this is my C drive. Will I install any application in my C drive? No, right? In my Linux also, I won't install any application in my root point partition. What I will do, I will create a new drive and I will install in the new drive. Why? Because if the root partition gets corrupted, no, all the data will be lost. Yes or no? So you won't, if the C drive crashes or operating system crashes, right? Then you will like it will be this won't be unused. The data whatever you store in the C drive will be lost. Or in your root partition of Linux, the concept is same everywhere. Here it is C drive, there it is the root partition. In the root partition you won't install any software. Okay, so for that you will procure additional mount points or additional drives, and there only you will install. Even this C drive goes down or the root partition goes down, right? You can directly attach the additional disk and you can mount to the application if there is any failure. Okay, for now, right, I can select any of this. So for now what I'm doing now, I'm selecting some D drive. Okay, I will check whether I can go for 5 GB or something. Okay, minimum is 32 GB it seems, or I will go for standard SSD with 4 GB. Okay, and I am saving. If I do this configuration, right, the disk won't get added automatically. Okay, the disk, this will take couple of minutes, it will take 1-2 minutes. Meanwhile what it will do, right, it will try to create that disk and attach it to this particular VM. It will take 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, so my configuration is updated. Now what I will do now, I will go and log into this machine. I will click on connect. Okay, and here I'm downloading this RDP file. So I have logged into this machine. Just now I have added one disk. Okay, if I go to my PC, I won't find that D drive. Okay, this is my root partition or the C drive. This is the temporary disk which I have got. Whenever I create, whenever I attach a disk here, automatically you won't get any C drive. What happens, right? To this particular VM, that disk will be allocated. Okay, and you have to create and format, you have to initialize the disk basically. Okay, now if you see, right, I have C drive and temporary storage which will come by default, but I have created some 4 GB disk that didn't come, which I have created here. Okay, this is my data disk which I have added. This is the OS disk. Okay, if you see this one, right, this we will call it as a like OS disk. This is the additional disk which I have added, which is like 4 GB. It is 127 GB. If you see here, I got this 127 GB disk, but I didn't get 4 GB. How you will get? No, you have to click on, right click on my PC. Okay, okay, once, and click on manage. Okay, here I have selected, just now I have selected no files and storage services. I can click on this one. Then I will be having something like disks. I have to select this one. Okay, now you see 127 GB, which is part of the C drive, is coming here. Okay, and 16 GB, which is a virtual disk, which is part of that temporary disk, is coming here. Okay, now this partition is not node. What I have to do now, I have to do a format and I have to attach it to this particular VM. So first what I will do, right, I have to right click on this. Here we are get last 4 GB you are getting now this disk. You have to right click and create a new volume. Or no, first we have to initialize. One second. Okay, now this came to something like GTP. Now I have to create a new volume. Now I'm clicking on next. Okay, and this is the 4 GB. Out of 4 GB, 3.98 is free, and the other will be used for storing the metadata. Now if you see, out of 4 GB, 3.98 data, 3.98 GB can be used. Now here I have to map. First I have to initialize the disk. Okay, then I have to create a volume. Here there are like multiple options, C, D, E. If you go to my C drive, no, here I am having say C, D, E. Like that I want to map it to one drive here. So I can map it to some F, G, H or whatever. Okay, now I am creating one drive called with the name F. Clicking on next. Okay, this is, we are formatting. Okay, we are formatting with something like NTFS. Okay, this is the file system, and we are having one more file system like REFS, or I can put something like, I can create a volume label also. Click on next and click on create. Now what will happen, right? Whatever the disk which I have allocated here, okay, in my console, okay, now that is being formatted and added to this particular machine. Okay, I can close this now. If I go to my C drive, now I am having some backups with F now. I can use it. Okay, I can use my disk. So normally, why I have taken this? What is the need of this? So in any, like if you take like Windows or Linux application, right? This is the OS disk. In OS disk, no, you won't install any application. You will install your applications in Linux or Windows in the other drives. Okay, so if you are storing some important backups or in any applications data, right, if you put it in C drive, right, the data will be lost if there is any OS corrupt or something. Okay, so mostly, right, you will go with this one. You will go with the attached disk. So this attached disk, no, if you have this attached disk, no, you can attach it whenever you create a new VM. No, whenever I create a new VM, now my VM is ready. In my disks, I am having attach an existing disk option, right? Using this, right, I can, here that will come in that filtering, it will come. So you can attach that particular disk directly. Okay, instead of creating new, you can select that disk also. Okay, now what I will do, right? Yeah, no, yesterday we are stuck at something, no, yesterday like we are unable to ping to this device. No, this is my public IP. And while discussing that network security groups, we are unable to ping. No, the problem is like I have given the port number. That is a problem. That's it. Okay. Actually, I have to go to networking. In networking, no. Yesterday I have added some inbound rule. No. Here, what I did, no. Source any, source port any, destination can be anything. Okay. Here, service is something I can put custom. Actually, what I kept, no, destination port ranges, no, I kept to 7. That is the mistake I did. Okay, I can put something like star here and I can select this ICMP. This ICMP is for like ping protocol to work, ping command to work. Okay, yesterday I have given 7. Okay, if it is a custom port, right, you will be specifying the port number of the destination. Okay, so there are something like source and destination. So every machine will be communicated with a port. Whenever it is sending the data also, you will be having source IP, and through some port you will be sending the data. At the receiving end also you will be having that port. Yesterday I have given 7 instead of star. Okay. Now if I save, no, I will put something like 310. I will put something like 290 as per. I will come to this later. And I'm clicking on this one. Add. Now it should work. It will take some time to get this changes effective. It will take some time. We'll see after 2-3 minutes. Yeah, now we are getting the ping, no? We are getting the ping, no? Now it will take some time. Yesterday we didn't get. Okay. The issue is simple. Here, no, I took something like custom and I have added some 7 here instead of start and selecting this ICMP here. Okay, that's why we got that issue. Now today we discussed 2 things. We discussed something like disks. Okay, disk, right, you can add n number of disk, what, okay, for a VM. And this is the size. We talked about multiple sizes. No, if I go to my overview page, okay, here you will be having size. I am currently using D2S V3, which is having 2 vCPU and 8 GB RAM. Okay, now I don't have any option to change here. I can just copy, but I can't change here. If I want to change any size, but when we will use the size, any answer? But okay, disk means I know. You can answer why we need disk means if I want to have some additional drives for backups application, or deploying some applications, right, then you need this disk. But why we need sizes? Why you need to, when which occasion we will be changing this size of the VM? Any guess? When we have to go to, when we have to change the disk, sorry, size.
So when we are creating a new virtual machine,
Okay, when we are creating a new virtual machine, it will come with 2 vCPU and 8 GB RAM. Okay, when I have to change, when which, in which scenario I have to change?
If there is any expansion,
Yeah, so if my load is there, okay, there will be 2 types of scaling. Whenever the load is increasing, right, this 2 CPU and 8 GB RAM won't be sufficient. Okay, there are 2 possibilities. One is increase it to 4 vCPU and increase it to some 16 GB RAM. That is one possibility. Or you create one more machine with the same configuration and attach it to the load balancer. Load balancer will have similar VMs in the background which will be serving the traffic. That is the horizontal scaling. In vertical scaling, right, what you will do, right, the same machine's hardware you will increase. Okay, so if you want to increase that, you have to go to sizes. Okay, then here it will be displaying. Okay, if you see this one, no, your, if the virtual machine is currently running, changing the size will cause to be restarted. Okay, if you are changing, right, there will be some interruption. That's what they are saying. Now I am having something like this DS2 V3. I can select this one V4, or I can go with 16 GB, 4 VCP and 16 GB RAM. Okay, and click on resize. But this operation will take lot of time. Okay, now the resize is happening. Whenever you change this, no, there will be some additional cost you have to bear for that particular size.
Like how much downtime will it take, like for
For
upscaling?
upscaling, it will take based on the image. And yeah, now this is resized. Okay, now if I go here, no, it is still vCPU same. Okay, so what I will do now, I will stop and start this machine. I will restart that machine. Now it is like, you see, right, it is already changed 4 vCPU and 16 GB RAM. But in order to reflect, right, it has to reboot once. Okay, my VM is successfully restarted. Now my change is there, like now it is having 4 vCPU and 16 GB RAM. It will be like normal reboot only, it won't take much time, don't worry. Okay, so what I'm doing now, I'm just terminating the instance because I have increased it, right? So okay, this is how you will change. Previously you are having 2 vCPU and 8 GB RAM, but here using this size option, basically I'm able to select, I have to select the VM. Like here I'm having like multiple series supported by that VM. Okay, I can select any of the series and I can click on resize and I can reboot. Okay, then the new, like a new like new stuff will be coming for me. New size will be coming for me. Before I delete, any doubt?
No, thank you.
Even if I delete, sorry, even if I change the size, you are having the file. Now in backups I have created one file, so the data is not lost, only the size got changed. Okay, previously when I logged in, no, what I did in backups, I have created one file that is still there. You're having 4 processors. Previously we used to have only 2 processor, now we are having 4. When you go to RAM, you are having 16 GB. So here also it is verified. It is not only the change in UI, what I meant is, it is not only the change in UI. Here, just it is showing here, but we have to make sure actually it is reflected or not in that particular VM, no. Sometimes that may be also wrong, no. So you have verified this also. Here I'm having 16 GB and here I'm having some 4 cores, 4 vCPU. Okay. So I will show you, like, if I delete a VM here, no, previously I was telling now what is the use of resource group. Now if I go to my resource group called demo, I am having these many resources: additional drive, okay, VNet, and we are having some virtual network here. Okay, we will be having something like VM, virtual machine, Windows. Now what I will do, right, I will just delete this virtual machine. I have to click or like type yes and click on delete. Then my virtual machine will be deleted. So this is my demo. It will take some time. Yeah, it will take some time, I believe. Yeah, now my VM is created. Sorry, deleted. Now if I go to my resource group, okay, I will go to resource groups and I will select on demo. If you see here, I am having still that net, like network drive and all those, right? So if I delete a VM, right, only that VM will be deleted, rest all the resources will be there. So if I want to delete everything, like if you are using some static IPs, no, you will be charged for that. So if you want to overcome that, no, instead of deleting the VM, right, best practice, once you done your lab, just go to resource groups and select the resource group which you have created, okay, or just click that one and click on delete resource group. So what will happen now, whenever you are creating resources, those are tagged to resource group. So if you are deleting the resource group, all the resources which are part of that particular resource group demo, right, will be deleted. Even if it is having some 1,000 machines, okay, or like multiple disks, something like that, no, then everything will be deleted in one shot. So that you can like, if you are creating some environment POC, in that POC environment you are spending some 20 machines and you are using some disks and you are using some storage. Now your job is done, that POC is done, you have taken all the evidences and everything is fine. Now you can, instead of creating the virtual machine, just delete that resource group, then all the infra whatever that is created, no, that will be deleted in one shot. So now everything will be deleted, but it will take a bit time. Slowly it will create one after the other. Any doubts in today's class?
No, no.
Clear, right? Am I fast or slow or fine with the pace? Are you
You
fine
are
with the
good
pace?
with the, yeah, we are good with the pace.
Okay. Basically, right, today we have covered two things. Like once you onboard your application, no, you can add your additional disks or you can change the size. You are capable of doing that one. Okay. So slowly it is getting deleted. So one by one by one, right? All the additional disks or storage, everything will be deleted one by one. It will save some money. If you forget, no, sometimes, right, there will be resources which will be charged. So like in the background, you will be charged if you are keeping that. If you delete that, no, you won't be charged. Yeah, now everything is deleted. Okay. Yeah, like proceed with payments, so that we can continue. Maybe like today or tomorrow is the last demo, I believe. We already had 3 or 4 demos, no? Then we can start with the Linux basics, and I will touch up these things, because like you need that Linux knowledge also. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm having some material I can give. Okay, that is I can, 1 second, I will, just a second. Okay. So I have attended this Microsoft training in office. Okay, so they have provided me this that, what to say, the documents, right? So I can share those documents. It will cover everything. Okay, I will in the middle of the sessions, no, like once we go, if we complete some 20% or 30%, no, then I will be sharing. Okay, I have that material for this one also, AZ500. I can share that one also. Okay, AZ500, you know, right? It is related to this security.
Yes.
I will be sharing that. Maybe in our regular class I will start, because this is being recorded, no? So I can't show that now if this recording is on. Okay. Yeah. If I can stop this recording, I can show, but yeah, 1 second. Recording is stopped now. I can share. Okay. Oops. Hmm. It is not recording now. Should be fine. So I am having this material actually. Not sure like how it will be useful. Okay. This one like AZ500, like Microsoft Security Technologies. Okay. This one I have. Like you will be having, it is like vast, some 200 pages or something. You'll be having like it is more of security. You playing with AD. Okay, I was telling, no, it is a zero trust model in my prior classes. Zero trust model is something like you have to enable everything. Everything will be blocked, which is coming from outside. So it will help a lot. This is like 2 advanced course security, and I'm having one with this, what to say, AZ500 also I'm having, but I don't have a document. I have to copy paste. I have that what to say, login credentials, but I can only view. I can't what to say, like download. There won't be any download option. So what I can do, right, I can copy paste, I can give you. Okay, so like that, you will here, you will be this material I can give, and that is the reference material from, what to say, like Microsoft. It is not published by other people like institutes or Udemy. Okay, this is like directly from Microsoft. Okay guys, any doubts? If you don't have any doubts, we can log off. Okay, if you want to practice now, I will give one exercise. What you can do, right? You install a Linux VM. Okay, install a Tomcat server in it. Okay, the use is like you will get some knowledge on Linux as well. Okay, this infrastructure as a service run, most of the people will use Linux also. Okay, if you are deploying some applications, Linux is must whenever you go to cloud. It is not like Azure, but Linux is also must if you are using Azure for infrastructure as a service. You understood the exercise, no? Will you try?
Can you repeat again?
Install.
Not in your
Okay. Okay, I'm typing in chat window. Install OS. Just a second. Create instrument. Okay, you can install. It is up to you. I don't want to mention like just install only Linux machine. You can do it on Windows also if you are fine with it, as it is initial day, right? What you can do, right? You install some Windows machine or Linux machine, install Java, because one for Tomcat Java is must. Okay, you have to create a VM, you have to log in, and you have to install your Java runtime environment. After that Java, you have to install Tomcat and launch website. Means if you give that IP address in your browser, no, you should see the Tomcat running or some website. It is up to you. If you want, if you are having some sample jar, you can deploy that. So it will be like a real time. So you are in on a virtual machine, you are creating some environment and you are hosting a website kind of thing. Okay, will you do that? Just note this. I will end this. If I end this meeting now, that will go just to copy paste. It will be a good exercise for you. Or if you are fine with right now, then try to install some MySQL server. Okay, one application server, one DB server, something like that. Okay, you try to do. If you know like installation of Linux, no, just take Nginx, Tomcat application. You are having like multiple applications, application servers. No, you can take any. Or if you want to install DB, just install DB in it, and you have to connect to that particular DB which is hosted on the Azure. Okay, this is all real time. Why I'm telling now? There is a DB service. You will use DB service because DB service, if you use in real time in cloud, it will be charging some $500 to $600 per month. Means per year you will be charged like $3,000. $3,000 is something like huge amount. 2 lakhs. Correct or not? In our downstream environments, like in testing environment or even in development environment, they won't install that one. You will be having one DB. What he will do now, he will install DB server and give us. Because if I'm having some 10 environments, means it is something like $3,000 into per year 10 environments, means $30K. You see the cost. Got it? So this is also real time because our DBA or we will create our own MySQL server and try to connect. This is what happens. If it is in cloud, right, you will also do some optimization of cost. You understood? No? If I'm having some 10 environments in my project, for 1 DB, I'm charged some 3K per month, sorry, per year. That is 30K per year. If I'm running for Means for testing environment and prod environment, I'm saying I am paying almost the same. Got it? So we have our DBA. You will be doing that in lower environments. Okay. Any doubts? I can wind up.
Sir, actually create a Linux and Windows VM and install
Or
the. So
any one.
like what exactly like we should install in our laptop?
No. I just now I created VM. No, I told
Yes,
create.
virtual machine. So we
You
need
have
to
to create.
take like Azure like
Yes,
a
in
free
Azure
version
only.
we should take.
Yes.
So sir, how many months we'll get the free version, sir? Azure.
1 year.
Okay.
You try to
Yes.
create. Okay.
Okay.
It is not 1 day access. This week you target. Not for 1 day.
Yes.
You target for this week or like next 10 days. I will give some exercises like this. If you do right, it will be like very useful for you. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye. You can take the screenshot also. So I will give my email ID right tomorrow. What you can do, right, for everything you take one screenshot. What will happen, right, if you want to revisit after 1 year or 6 months, you can see the screenshots and you can remember everything. So for whatever the action you do, you take a screenshot. Got it?
Okay, sir. When you are doing this virtual, sorry,
No, when
the
you are
class.
taking this, yes, this labs, you will be doing some
Okay.
R&D and you will be doing, no, take the screenshot of working one. It will be
Yes.
useful for you. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye.